Yes, people, how's it going? Welcome back to Lily White Lane. Hope you're all doing good, hope you're keeping well, and hope you're having a fantastic and a smashing Saturday and weekend. As you can see, I'm buzzing like most Spurs fans are because it is the big one tomorrow. And I'm not talking about the Carabao Cup final, the Tin Pot Energy Drink Cup final. I am talking about Spurs versus Chelsea. A huge game for both sets of fans. You know, Chelsea's biggest game always for them. You know, we don't like them, but they absolutely despise us. And if we don't beat them this Sunday, I don't think we ever will. Seriously, this is our best chance ever to beat the Chelsea scum. But look, huge game tomorrow. And I wanted to come on here today and give you guys a combined 11. Give you guys my combined 11, my thoughts and opinions on if we put the Chelsea team and Spurs team from this season based on form and the way they've played this season together, what would the team look like? So without further ado, enough waffling, let's delve straight into it. Let's start off with goalkeepers. Goalkeepers. For both teams, they're just not brilliant, are they? They're really not brilliant. Mendy and Lloris, so capable of making errors. Them two have been horrendous this season. I'd have to go with Kepa. And Kepa's not even been that good, but Lloris this season, you know, so many mistakes. More mistakes than any other keeper in the league. Mendy hasn't had a good season. Barely started for Chelsea. That absolute howler he did against Leeds. I'd have to go with Kepa. I would have to go with Kepa. I don't think Kepa's been that bad the last couple of years. And yeah, I'd stick him in there. So Kepa goes in for me. Then we move on. I'm going to be playing a 3-4-3 formation, by the way. That's 3 centre-backs, 2 midfielders, 2 wing-backs, a striker, a right winger and a left winger. So let's move on to the back 3. First 2 players who go straight in there without a doubt. And I think most Spurs and Chelsea fans would agree on this, despite form of both teams this season. Thiago Silva and Christian Romero, both absolute Rolls Royces. Thiago Silva, although he does play for them lot, you cannot deny he's a legend in the game. And I don't understand, you know, what drugs Graham Potter took last weekend to make him think to not play Thiago Silva in a huge game, you know. This guy's been their best players over the... their best players? Is Thiago Silva now 3 people? Like the Salamanca twins? But no. He's been their best player over the last few years. Under Thomas Tuchel, you know, even he was their best player. The amount of quality performances and clean sheets he did have. And that 3-0 when they beat us at our place at the beginning of last season, that guy was absolutely immense. So Thiago Silva goes straight in there. Yes, he hasn't been as good this season, but Christian Romero, without a doubt, goes in there for me. Absolute Rolls Royce, you know. What a performance he had against West Ham, by the way. Yes, he's had a couple of off performances this season. No real mistakes, though. And, you know, his performance against West Ham was absolutely unreal. You know, World Cup winner this season, won the World Cup with Argentina. He goes straight in there for me. Romero and Thiago Silva go straight in there. Then we move on to the next centre-back. Now, this is quite a tough one. It is quite a tough one because you haven't really got any standouts. Okay, Romero and Thiago Silva go straight in there. And then you're deciding between players such as, okay, Chelsea side, you've got Badiashile, you've got Wesley Fofana, you know, these sort of players, Azpilicueta. And then on Tottenham side, you've got Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, you know, Clement Longley. You know, it's a tough one. I'm going to go with Ben Davies. I am going to go with Ben Davies. I think this season, he's been quite good, to be fair, Ben Davies. And people go, oh, you're just basing that off the West Ham game. But in general, when we're having a moan at this circus of a defence, it's rarely having a go at Ben Davies. It's more having a go at the likes of Dyer, Longley quite a few times this season. You know, players like that. Emerson, but Emerson's been brilliant recently. We'll get on to Emerson when we talk about the right wing-back position. But, you know, I think Davies has been better than any of Chelsea's centre-backs. He hasn't been brilliant, granted, but he hasn't necessarily been poor. He hasn't necessarily been poor. Badiashile, you know, barely played since he come in, hasn't really stood out. Azpilicueta, not the best season for him. You're looking at other centre-backs. Fofana's been injured most of the season. I'm going to have to put him in. I'm going to have to put Ben Davies in. Put Davies left centre-back. Thiago Silva, you know, your central centre-back. And Christian Romero as your right centre-back. Now we move on to the wing-back positions. Left wing-back, Ben Chilwell or Perisic. Now, At the beginning of the season, I would have said Perisic. I would have said Perisic all day long. But I don't know with Perisic. I don't know. He's so on and off. And it just comes across to me like a lot of the time in his games, Perisic is very basic. Very, very basic, you know. I don't think he's done enough this season, although Ben Chilwell's been injured for quite a bit this season. And he is very, very injury prone. Same as Reece James, who we'll talk about in a second. But I don't think Perisic has done enough to get in, you know, ahead of Chilwell. I think Chilwell is still a top left wing back, although he hasn't really been at it this season despite his injuries. And I just don't think Perisic has been brilliant for Spurs. He started the season brilliantly, you know, his performance against Chelsea when he came on, that corner, you know, his performance against Wolves and some of those games earlier in the season. But he's just sort of faded away. You've got to consider his age as well. He's tired a little bit. Stellini was probably right to give him a rest in our last game. So look, I'm not going to put Perisic in. I'm going to go with Chilwell. I think Chilwell is still a very decent left wing back. Moving on to right wing back. There is only one player that can go in at right wing back when you consider his form, and that is Emerson Cafu Royal. No, I'm joking. Although if you're basing it off form, but then at the same time, Royal was absolutely shocking for the first half of the season. He's only had a few good games, but he's turning it around. There's slightly more of a debate here if you're basing it off form. You know, James, very, very injury prone. He's a quality player, there's no doubt about it. But his legacy and career, when he does retire, for me, will be slightly ruined by his injuries. And if you're a Chelsea fan, it's gutting, you know, because he's such a good player, but he's always injured. I believe he's fit for this Sunday, though. And I'd still choose him over Emerson Royal. You know, if I was managing a combined 11 now, I had both players fully fit, I'd go with Reece James all day long. Although, huge credit to Emerson. He's turning his career around. He's, you know, turning his season around and his spell at Tottenham around. But Reece James goes in at right wing back for me. Now we move on to the central midfielders. Look, it's a tight one with central midfielders, you know, because there's a lot of options. Not in the Spurs sense, to be honest. Bentancur out injured, Bissouma out injured. I'll be honest with you, if we're basing it off this season and form, if Bentancur was fit, I'd go with Bentancur and Højbjerg as my midfield too. I really would. But the first midfielder in there for me has to be Højbjerg. I think a lot of Chelsea midfielders, you know, quite a few came in January, haven't really hit the ground running or haven't played enough for us as fans to really see what they're about. You know, Kante's been injured pretty much all season. Kovacic ain't been great. You know, it's a tough one with Chelsea midfielders. Jorginho left them in January, you know, but I think Højbjerg goes in there straight away. I think Højbjerg is the best midfielder. Other midfielder, like I say, I'm basing it if I had to combine a team right now and make a team, who would I put in there? And I'm going to go with Enzo Fernandez. I do think the kid has bags of ability. He hasn't necessarily hit the ground running, but we've seen him a few times, and he looks the pick of the bunch out of a very, very poor and bad Chelsea team. So look, Enzo Fernandez and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as my midfielders. Front three, without a doubt, Harry Kane goes in there. Without a doubt, Kulusevski goes in there. And without a doubt, Heung-min Son goes in there. There is zero debate. Chelsea's attackers, they're firing blanks. They have been all season. Tom Hanks style, you know, firing blanks. They've done nothing. Nothing, Chelsea's attackers all season, you know. Look at their front line. Havertz, he's playing against them, man. He's playing against them. Sterling's been very, very poor. I've never really rated Sterling, I'll be honest with you. I've always thought he's quite greedy and about himself, and I don't think he's been great at Chelsea. He's had a couple decent performances. That's about it. You're looking at their wingers. Ziyech, done nothing really. Mudryk about to become another 007 with 0 goals, 0 assists and 7 games. You know, you're looking at their attackers. They haven't really done much. Madueke, maybe at the end of the season, if this game was there, I'd put him in because I rate the guy, but we ain't really seen enough of him. So look, front three without a doubt for me has to be Kane, Son, Kulusevski. Yes, Son's been poor, but does Sterling getting over Son? No. Does Havertz getting over Son? No. Do any of Chelsea's wingers that I've just mentioned getting over Son? No. Yes, Kulusevski's had injuries, but do any of the players without Kulusevski's injuries getting? No. Kane, Son, Kulusevski as the front three all day long. Harry Kane, there is zero debate there. The guy's been unreal for Spurs this season. Kulusevski in his time fit, yes, he's had a couple of poor games now, but he has been very, very decent for Spurs this season. Had some real decent performances when he has been fit. Son's had a couple of good games here and there. Scored against West Ham, scored that hat-trick against Leicester. That's more than any Chelsea attackers have done all season. So that is my combined 11. Kepa in goal. We've gone with a back three of Christian Romero, Kalidou Koulibaly. No, Koulibaly's been a train wreck since joining Chelsea, but goes to show the difference between the Italian and English leagues. But anyway, I'm off and running. I'm on a partridge. I'm going off on one. But Romero at centre-back, Thiago Silva at centre-back, Badiashile as the centre-back. Those are my back three. When you move on to the midfielders, Enzo Fernandez and Højbjerg, with Reece James at right wing-back and Ben Chilwell at left wing-back, and a fully Spurs front three with Harry Kane, Heung-min Son and Dejan Kulusevski. Comment down below your thoughts on the combined 11. What would you change? What players would you put in? And comment your score predictions for tomorrow's huge game at the Lane. Thank you for watching this video. Take care of yourselves. All the best. God bless. And as always, come on you Spurs. In Conte we trust. Enix.